Checking, checking, checking. Check, check, check. Checking, checking, checking. Check. Check, check, check. Checking, checking. Check. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, am I? Well, it doesn't do anything. Hey everybody, there's actually 4 people here. Wow, I just jumped on a couple of minutes ago, and I'm glad you guys are here. Jump in the chat and let me know who's around. That would be really cool. If you guys want to do that, just kind of let me know what's going on. Let me know that you could see me okay. How's the video look? How's the audio sound? I have no clue. But we have 6 people watching. I'm going to try to, let me see if I can improve your... I got 6 people now watching. Really cool. Very cool, guys. We're going to be doing a full-on live stream on 23rd. There's a post on my Facebook page talking about that, and I'm going to put up a promo video on YouTube later. I just wanted to check this out for the first time to see what was what. If you guys are in the chat, if you can just say something, just let me know that you're there. I can see there's like 11 people watching, which is really cool. Enable live chat. Let's see what's going on with this. So this is my first time using this. So as you can see, I'm not a professional at this, but have no fear. I'm going to get better at it, because if you guys want me on here and you want to ask me a bunch of questions about recording and home mixing, mastering, and all that stuff, I'm going to be here to try to help. So can you guys hear me okay? That's what I need to know. If you guys can hear me. If you can, just leave a message in the chat and let me know. That would be really cool. Awfully white looking. Okay, Dave, hold on. That's the lighting. You know, that's because the screen here is just so, I'm getting a reflection off my monitor. Hey, Chris, how are you? Hey, how's it going? I know the video probably doesn't look all that great, and I apologize for that. The lighting in here is pretty dim. I'm getting a reflection off my screen, and that's why it looks like I got a big white, like a big white cloud on my face. That has nothing to do with... The chat looks like it's working now, Chris, right? I'm going to just type back just to make sure I'm able to chat with you. You guys should be able to see that. I haven't even advertised this. I just jumped on. There's 11 people here. Right on, man. So I've never done one of these before, Chris and David. But, you know, I get asked all the time through comments on YouTube and such about doing a live chat. And so that's what I'm here to kind of, you know, do. And I'm going to set something up again. It's for this coming Friday. And on the 23rd of December at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. I'm not sure where you guys are from. If you want to kind of in the chat, let me know where you're all from. I'm from Connecticut on the East Coast in the United States. Hopefully you guys will be able to be around next week, the 23rd. That would be awesome. And I'm going to have a little bit of an agenda, but basically, I want to be able to be here for you, all you guys, all the people that are checking, following the YouTube channel. There's over 14,000 subscribers now, which is right on. I think I got like 10,000, no, maybe 10,000 subscribers in 2016. No, maybe 8,000. I think it's more like it. And then a lot of you guys are supporters of the Made Easy products. You're supporters of the Quick Mix products. You're supporters of home recording Made Easy, which is awesome. Hey, from Ireland, very cool. Pennsylvania, Brian, that's awesome. David, Saskatchewan. Holy Christmas. Someone from Ukraine. This is wild. And a lot of you guys are obviously subscribers to my channel. I thank you so much for that. I can't tell you how much that means to me. I never thought a couple of years ago when I started a YouTube channel with only 50 subscribers that, 24 months later, we would be at 14,000. It blows me away. And the amount of guys and gals out there that that are supporting home recording Made Easy and all my Made Easy products and my Quick Mix products, again, I can't tell you how much that means to me. And I'm so super stoked that that these things are helping you. And so always looking for better ways to kind of support you guys and gals and help you. One suggestion was made to me a while back about doing live streams, and I just kind of said, I didn't think anybody really cared. None of you guys are really, care about what I think. And none of you are going to come see me, but a lot of people over the last 6 months or so through comments on YouTube and through emails have asked me to do a live stream. So I just started to research it last night, by the way, and how you do that. I know for some of you it may be really simple, but I've never done it before. So I got on YouTube, I did some research, I downloaded some software to allow me to do this, and now I'm testing it out for the first time. I wanted to kind of get a little comfortable and familiar with this whole process before next Friday, and honestly, I thought I would be the only one on here, and we've only been on about 6 minutes, and there's already 18 people watching this, and I didn't do a single piece of advertisement. So I don't know how you guys knew I was on, because I'm not familiar with it. Maybe you can let me know how you even found out that I was on. Did you get a message because you're a subscriber of mine saying that I was on live? I didn't do that on purpose. Maybe YouTube automatically does that. Let me know. It'll help educate me so I can provide better service for you. Christopher from Indiana, Massachusetts. Excellent. You got an email from YouTube, David. Okay, cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's how it worked. I didn't send it to you. But if YouTube does it automatically because you're a subscriber of mine, that's even better. It helps drive more people here, which is really cool. And that's really awesome. Okay, Chris, you saw the email as well. Excellent. Well, seeing as there's a bunch of you starting to come on in now, which is really cool. It's kind of unplanned, but do you guys, Johnny, I see you there. Got a notification. Johnny, my friend, Johnny Lispen and myself will be maybe doing some things together in the future. So go out and check out Johnny's channel as well. But, if you have any quick questions about anything related to home studios and stuff, you want to shoot them in the chat. I will try to answer them. And that's kind of what the agenda, I guess, will be for maybe Friday, is we're going to try to break things down into certain sections, talking about mixing and mastering and those kinds of things. But one of the things that I really wanted to try to help you all with, because I do get an enormous amount of feedback and questions and about home studio businesses and people that are looking to start their, make their home studio kind of a part-time business or a full-time business. I get lots of questions about that. So I know that's a popular topic, and I answer all the emails, and I feel like I'm answering the same questions over and over again. And I have done some videos on my channel in the past. They're in the archive. I think there's a playlist called the Studio Biz or something to that effect. Go check those out. But if you guys have any questions around that stuff too, feel free to ask me. I'm here to share my experiences with you and show you or tell you, if you want to know, how I went from just a part-time business, doing it on the side in my home several years ago, to eventually going full-time and doing this for a living. And this is how I support myself and my family. And so, if you guys have questions, certainly ask. And I'll try to, Johnny, I will try to do something with the video. It's the reflection off the screen. That's the problem, because YouTube's got a big white background and it's the reflection. So I'm going to try to try maybe turning down the brightness on my display and whatnot, and I'll get all that worked out for next week. I can see myself in the video that it's a little bright on my face. I can see that. So I'll get all that corrected for Friday. Don't worry. I'll take care of all that to try to look a little bit better for you guys. Not that you really care all that much what I look like, right? So that's really cool. So if the live stream is a good idea and you guys really dig it and things go well on Friday, then I will do one maybe once a month, or you guys want to shoot me emails about what kind of topics you want to discuss during these live streams, I'll do that too. I'm really here for you. I have some preconceived ideas, but I want to direct it however you guys want to take it. And that's what this thing is all about. Let's see. Wondering if mixing, let me got a question here. Wondering if mixing with stock plugins is a relative decent quality is possible. Blah, blah, blah. Been wondering about. Okay. So you're asking about stock plugins and can you get decent quality? Absolutely. If I need to buy some, let me see what else the rest of the question. Yeah, stock plugin. I get that question a lot. I mean, that's probably when we talk about mixing and stuff. And when people look at my quick mix series or my made easy products or even my YouTube videos, I got to say the number one question I get around mixing is about plugins and about stock plugins. And can you get good quality stuff with stock plugins, or do you really need to go out and spend money on third-party plugins? And I tell every one of my students, you can absolutely get a phenomenal results with stock plugins, compression and EQ primarily, if you know how to use them effectively. That's really the key. When you get past stock plugins and you start talking about third-party plugins and vintage style plugins and all the other stuff that some of you people have seen me use in my videos, that's just another tool. It's not really any better, quote unquote, than stock plugins. I like to use the analogy of a painter. Think of it as a painter. If you have a bunch of colors on your painting palette here, you know, a stock plugin may be blue and third-party plugins may be brown, you know, or the stock plugin may be blue and third-party plugins could be a different shade of blue. It's just a different color to add to your painting or your mix, or a different tool to add to your mix. But the short answer is yes, you can get absolute great results with stock plugins. If you're having a hard time getting what you perceive as a good mix with stock plugins, it's not the plugin and it's not the DAW. It is the way you're using it. And so one of the reasons why I created EQ Made Easy and Compression Made Easy is because I wanted people to understand how to effectively use compression and EQ. And those two series are really geared towards beginners. Compression, for example, we go through all the different settings on a compressor. We primarily focus on a stock compressor, how to use it, how to effectively use it, and then compare it to some third-party compressors from Universal Audio and Slate Digital and Waves and a couple of those. But what's really great about that series, which I think is helpful to beginners, is I just don't show you the controls and what they do, but I teach you, or try to teach you, how to listen for compression. And we do a lot of A/Bing, and I try to really describe in detail what to listen for. So once you get your head wrapped around what to listen for, and the light bulb kind of goes off in your head and you go, oh, now I get it. And now you know what you're listening for. Then it makes using a stock compressor so much more effective. And the same with EQ. Same thing goes with EQ. And once you've got that under your belt, then if you want to take it to the next level, if you want to add some different colors to your mix or to your painting, then I would say go out and take a look at some third-party plugins. And I use a whole host of them from different manufacturers on all my videos. So you'll have a bunch of stuff that you can see. And again, you can go demo all these plugins usually for a week to 2 weeks for free. So I would recommend that you do that as a way to get started. As a matter of fact, if you've never used any kind of third-party plugin before and you're looking for some of that analog plugin style, the next 3 quick mix series for January, February, and March of 2017, I only use Slate Digital vintage style plugins because I wanted to give everyone an introduction to a set of analog style plugins that are super, super affordable, that anyone could pretty much obtain for either a very low monthly subscription fee. So go out to slatedigital.com and check out some of their subscription packages. I think you'll find them very affordable, and the plugins are amazing. And you don't have to buy any additional hardware. You don't have to buy anything special for your computer. They're all native plugins. They won't suck down the CPU on your computer. computer, and that's something you may want to take a look at. But check that out. So that was a good question. Stock plugins, right on. I use stock, and I have some products, by the way, and videos on YouTube where I only use stock plugins and show you how to do that as well. So check that out on YouTube. There's a bunch of them on YouTube, and if you want more, go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Let's see. Steve Smith, how are you, Steve? Separate tracks and export them as separate files. Is there a simple way to do this? Is there a way to split and separate tracks, then export them as separate files? Yes, and I'm not really sure I clearly understand, Steve, what you're asking. To split and separate tracks. What do you mean by that exactly? Yes, you can export anything as a separate file. If you can, Steve, you could be a little bit more, clarify a little bit. I'll try to answer. If someone else in the chat, Johnny, I know you do a lot of work in your studio. If you see that question by Steve and you want to jump in, feel free. I'd appreciate the help, man. Wow, we got, 16 people watching this. Hey, how about that? I was going to go put a link on my Facebook page and say I'm here, but I'm not going to do that now because I'm afraid I'm going to get bombarded and I'm not prepared. But this is cool, man. This is cool. Someone has said they like the 335 behind me. Yes, who said that? Someone said something about my 335. You could see sitting over my shoulder. Yes, I have a couple of 335s as a matter of fact. That is a 2015 Gibson Memphis 335. I love it. I'm brand new to 335s. I'm a Les Paul guy for many, many years. I have a few custom shop Les Pauls. And I just got a new one that I did an unboxing on my YouTube video, 2016 Traditional, which is an awesome Les Paul, by the way. And then I recently got into a 335, and I have the one you see sitting behind me. And then I also have a red one, like a satin red finish one. So I have two of them. And they sound so much different than a Les Paul because it's a semi-hollow body, obviously, even though they have the same pickups. And the neck profile is a lot thinner than the custom shop Les Pauls. But they're really, really cool. You had one for years. That's awesome. Yeah, I love them. I love them. It's like my new favorite guitar now. So I primarily play Gibsons. I have some Strats, but I really don't dig the single coil thing too much. I'm really a humbucker into a Marshall style amp, although I play a Friedman, which is, basically a souped up modern Marshall for pretty much. So yeah. Oh, you had a 68 335, a real 1968, like an original 68? Or did you have a repo? Steve, splitting tracks and exporting them as separate files. Does this help? This is all new to me. I'm not sure what you mean by Steve, but splitting tracks. That's the thing that's kind of throwing me. I'm not quite sure what you mean. But the answer is I'm sure it can be. You mean if you have audio, it looks like you're trying to do voiceover work. You mean, do you have all your voiceover all on one single audio track and you want to slice it and dice it and then put certain sections of that audio on a secondary track and then export it? Is that what you're asking to do? You said original 1968. 335. Nice. Nice. Yes, you're right, Johnny. They're nice for jazz playing, although I don't play jazz. I'm not that good of a player. They're also great for classic rock. Trust me. Cool. You had an original 68 335. Yeah, you had. So you sold it. You must be kicking yourself now. I'm sure that was worth a lot of money. But yeah, the new 335s they're great guitars. Anything out of the Memphis factory is a good guitar. And you played 70s rock on it. That's what I play on mine, 70s rock, which is really cool. You only know how to play weird chords on guitar, huh, Johnny? Well, that's because you're a real musician, unlike myself. So any other questions, guys, around anything, home recording, mixing, studio stuff? I'm here for a little bit, not for too long, because I wasn't planning to do anything other than make sure that this works, and it does. The only thing that we got to work out is to get the white light off my face so it doesn't look like I'm getting hit with the sun. But other than that, and I'm not even, again, it's the screen. I'll have to adjust that, but I'll fix that. I'll fix it. Hi, David. How are you? The Fader 8 port. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm glad you asked that question, David. Yes, I have seen it online, and yes, I have one coming. and it will be here, the Fader Port 8 by PreSonus. It will be here, if not Monday, by Tuesday. I will hook it up, I will play around with it, and I will do a video review on it. I don't even know, I have the original Fader Port, which is kind of right here. It's kind of, the cords are kind of hooked up to it, but I have the original, the only other Fader Port. And I use that a lot for the transport controls. You know, I don't use it as a way to mix with the motorized fader. A little bit if I'm writing like a vocal, a lead vocal at the end to do some automation, but I really don't use the Fader Port all that much. And so I'm wondering if the Fader Port 8 is going to be something that I really need. It looks really cool though. And now that you have 8 faders, I might think about it a little bit differently. I guess I'm so used to the tracker ball and keyboard, and I'm so fast at it now that I don't really miss the tactile feel as I originally did when I first started getting into digital recording. So I don't know, you know, how much I really need the Fader Port 8. You know, in full disclosure, the guys over at PreSonus are sending it to me to do a review. I didn't buy it yet. I might buy it. I'll probably buy it from them if I can. But I'm just doing a review on it. They're loaning me one. So I didn't purchase it, but I did inquire about checking it out, and they were nice enough to say, hey, we'll send you a demo. Why don't you check it out? And if you like it, do a video. And that's what I'm going to do. Whether I'm going to keep it or not, I don't know, but I'm sure it's a great unit. Johnny Geib over at the Home Studio Trainer did a full review on it. And he did an excellent, like a 3 or 4 part video series. I don't think mine will be that in depth, but I'll check it out and I'll let you know. It seems like it's a cool thing. Yeah, Johnny, you're right. It's probably good having the 8 faders to do multiple rides and like riding a horn section or an orchestra section. Yeah, very good point. That's, you know, it's pretty cool. I mean, I think, you know, I think part of it is with the original Fader Port, because you only have one fader on it, that you're kind of limited, right? I mean, I use it a lot for the transport controls just because it's easier than clicking on my tracker ball just by touching the buttons. But I guess if I had 8 faders in front of me and I forced myself to use it, I probably start to fall back into, you know, having the faders in front of me and kind of digging that. So I'm going to try it. You know, I want to just see how it is and see if it's any good. I'm sure it's great. PreSonus always puts out great stuff, so I'm sure it's really cool. And I'll give you guys my honest opinion of whether I think it's great or not, or whether I like it or not. And I'm sure it's a great piece of gear. I just don't know how it'll fit into my workflow. But I will check it out for sure. Yeah, David, I hear you about working in an old school studio, and you know, when you go to digital, you know, when you come up in a for lack of a better word, a real studio with a real console and real hardware, that's how I came up as well, and that's how I learned. And when you go from that to digital, at first it's a big change because you miss that tactile feel. I get it, but you know, after a while, once you get used to it, you don't tend to miss it. You know, it takes time. But I've been doing in the box stuff now for so many years that you know, it's almost like such a distant memory of what that was like. And now because of the, you know, a lot of the plugin manufacturers that are doing such a great job to emulate the old hardware, the sound is there. You know what I mean? When digital first came about, the sound really wasn't there. It was missing that thing that you used to hear in the old studio, and you couldn't quite put your finger on why it sounded a certain way. And when you went to Pro Tools back then, or in the digital recording, it all sounded really good, but it was kind of missing that thing, and no one really knew what that was. Well, what that was, it was all the analog, you know, goodness, if you will, that hardware and electronics put on audio signal. Once that kind of became clear, and manufacturers like Universal Audio, like Waves, like Slate, had started to perfect these analog emulations, although they're not exactly the same. They're never going to be exactly the same, but they're so close now that now I feel like when I sit in my control room and listen to a mix, or I'm working on something, it sounds like what I remember when I first came up in a real studio. And so because of that, I don't miss so much that console tactile feel, probably because I've been away from it for so long. But I would be willing to bet that if some, you know, day I was working on a session in a real studio and actually had to touch a real console again, I bet you I would get that bug and want to feel like I'd want that again. And so part of me hopes that that never happens because that means there's a big investment in my future, which I really don't need right now in my life. But I totally get what you say, David, about that. You know, I totally, totally get it. But what I will tell you is that if you were away from it, as you said, for about 25 years, and now you're coming into the computer land, you know, don't feel like, oh, you know, you're never going to be able to get that to feel comfortable. You will. Trust me, it just takes time. And with all the resources online now, and guys like Johnny that's on, and myself, and Johnny over at the Home Studio Trainer, and the whole community of people, you'll have no problem getting the help that you need to get up to speed. So, but I totally hear you. Normalizing. Javier's talking about normalizing. Should you always normalize tracks? The main effect is an increase in volume, and then if so, but you know, I'll be honest. I don't use the normalize, you know, track feature. I don't think I think I've tried it. I don't ever use it. Basically, what I do is I just gain, and I guess if we're talking about gain staging, you know, before you start mixing and working on stuff, I just gain stage it. You know, I don't normalize tracks. I don't really get into that. I know there's a time and a place where that probably makes sense. I don't really do that. If I need to increase the volume of a track or all the tracks, I do it on an individual basis. You know, if things are recorded too low or too hot, you know, and I have to adjust, I just do that. Whether I use the mix tool in Studio One, for example, and turn down the gain or turn up the gain, or in Pro Tools, it's a trim control. You know, that's what I do. I really don't normalize tracks. If I don't know if you're asking about individual tracks. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, David, you're right that it's way cheaper to do computer recording than the old days. That's for sure. That's for sure. Although plugins can get mighty expensive, my friends. But they'll never be as expensive as a console. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, Johnny, you never normalize either. Neither do I. I just don't. It's not that it's wrong. I just don't do it. Is normalizing something the pros do? I don't know. I don't consider myself a pro, so I don't do it. Are some of the real pros doing it? I don't know. I really don't know. I would say my guess is probably not, but I could be wrong about that. Oh, hey, Steve Smith. Oh, thanks, man. Are you kidding? Thanks for the kind words. Remarkable teacher is far too kind. I don't even consider myself a teacher. I'm just a person like everyone else out there who really digs recording, and maybe I've just been doing it longer than some people at this point in my career. And anything I can do to help you or any of my followers, you know, I have absolutely no problem doing it, and I look forward to doing it. I really appreciate the fact that Steve, you and so many other people, as I said it when I first jumped on here, has supported what I do at Home Recording Made Easy, the YouTube channel, and then certainly all my Made Easy and Quick Mix products. I can't even begin to tell you. It still blows me away. It really does. I'm blown away that anyone cares what I think about mixing, mastering, and recording. You know, yes, I consider myself, you know, good at it. I can do it as a business, and I'm constantly have clients calling me, emailing me. I always have a backlog full of work, which is, I'm so blessed for that. And I you know, I've put the hours in, so I think I've gotten good at the craft, or better at the craft. But the fact that there's people out there in YouTube land and all over the world. I mean, just here today, we got people from Saskatchewan, Ireland, and some people from the United States. I mean, all over the world. It just it humbles me, and I can't, to be honest with you, I can't even believe it. So I'm glad that I've been able to help you in some small way, and I'm not going away anytime soon. 2017 is going to probably be the biggest year for home recording made easy and all the training stuff, and YouTube as well. Not just stuff that you guys have to pay for, even the free stuff. And I'm working and going to be working hopefully with some other great teachers to help me take home recording made easy to the next level, with both the free stuff and the paid stuff. And there's some really good ideas we have, and there'll be more to come. Stay tuned. I can't say too much about it yet because we're still working through some details, but there's a lot of cool things going on, man. And my goal, for Steve and for everyone else out there, is again to be able to do this in a way that is so super affordable for you guys, so the people who are just getting into the business, that are maybe just getting out of school and they don't have the disposable income to spend a lot of money, all the way up to the seasoned person who maybe has been doing this a while, to try to help everybody and do it in a way where you're not, where someone's not picking your pocket every week looking for more money, because that's not what I'm about. I'm really here to help, and the money that you guys are so kind to spend on my products really just gets turned back around into home recording made easy to kind of continue it to grow, so I could give more help to you. So there's more stuff coming. Trust me. So Steve, thank you so much. That was really cool of you to say. I so much appreciate that. So let's see. We got 27 people now watching this. I'm really happy to hear that YouTube just sends you guys a notification when I jump. I had no idea. Again, just goes to show you how I think David was mentioning earlier how you're kind of, you struggle with some technology. Well, I struggle with some technology too, right? I don't even understand how the live stream works. You think I would know that by now? But I'm going to get better at it. I promise. So again, thank you so much for jumping on, man. This is cool. So, oh wow, if I'm actually going to advertise this for next Friday, I might get bombarded. I may have to bring my wife down here and have her monitor the comments, because I don't know that I'll be able to keep up with all of it if we get 50 or 60 people on here watching this thing. So it'll be cool, man. Just get your questions ready, and if you have anything else you want to know, shoot, because I'm here, and I'll stay on for another maybe 20 minutes or so, half an hour, and then I'm going to have to split. Let me see what else you guys are asking or talking about. Steve, did you get your question answered? I see Johnny and a few other trying to help you out on that exporting question. Or not Steve, it was someone else asked that question. Hopefully you got your answer. From North Carolina. Who's that? Is it Tom? Is that it? Or hey, how are you from North Carolina? Scotty's here. Scotty, how are you? Steve, you got your answer. Great. That's awesome. Johnny, thanks for jumping in and helping out. I appreciate that a lot. Johnny's got a lot of knowledge too. Again, go over onto his YouTube channel. Check out his studio. Johnny just did a mini series on compression, and I did watch it, Johnny, by the way. It is really good. You did a nice job, man. It really is good. And I think he's also now doing something on reverbs and delays, right? Ambient effects, right, Johnny? I'm going to check that. I haven't seen that one yet, but I did check out your compression, and you did a really good job explaining it. I know sometimes compression is a hard thing to teach to someone who doesn't really understand it yet. Yeah, Johnny's got the reverb is up. Okay, so Johnny's done a nice series on reverb, and then he's going to be doing delay. So again, head on over to his channel and check out his stuff. He's got some cool videos over there. He knows what he's doing, that's for sure. And I'm hoping that Johnny will be doing some stuff with me and home recording made easy pretty soon. At least that's what we're talking about. Hey, Scotty from Northern Ontario, Canada. Welcome. How are you? Thanks for jumping on and saying hi. Again, this is the first time I've ever done a live stream. As you can tell, it looks like I got the sun shining on my face, right? I'm going to work on that for Friday night. And again, Friday night, the 23rd, 8 p.m. I know it's a couple of days before the holiday, before Christmas, but I'll be on 8 p.m. Eastern for however long you guys want me on, and I'm here to answer questions and try to help in any way I can. And again, if that goes well, if people really dig it, then I'll do it every month if you guys want me to. I don't care. You know, I could come up with a bunch of stuff to show you. We could, I have to see whether we can, and maybe someone on here will know. Maybe Johnny, you might know. Is there a way that I'll be able to maybe pull up Studio One and have people on the live stream actually see my screen and hear the DAW so I can, you know, maybe do some instructing on certain topics? Is that possible? I'm sure it is. I just don't know how to do it. But maybe if it is, I'll probably get with one of you at one point. Maybe you could show me how to do that. Someone asked me if I played in a band. Who asked me that? Let me see. Let me see. Thought I saw that. Yes, Steve, 5 Pacific time. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. I think somebody asked me if I played in the band, and then I don't see the message. But the answer is yes. We don't play. It's a relatively new band. We're still looking for a singer, by the way. It's just it's a trio right now, myself, bass player, drummer, and we're doing primarily classic rock stuff. You know, stuff from the 60s and 70s, you know, cover music, popular stuff, you know, upbeat tempo stuff. So it's a lot of fun. We haven't, you know, because we're still in search of a singer, our bass player is kind of stepping in and doing some singing, and I'm doing some background vocals, but we need a singer to go out and play. And once we find that right singer, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't played in the band in probably 10 years. Most of the playing of guitar and stuff that I've been doing over the last 10 years is here in my studio. I do some work writing music for television and film, you know, as part of what I do as well. And that's the only guitar playing that I've been doing for a long time, up until about 6 months ago. And I got back together with a bass player that I used to play with many years ago, and a drummer, a new guy that I met, a new drummer, and we've been jamming in the studio, and that's why you see my guitars behind me, and over to my left is a drum kit, and there's all kinds of stuff. So my control room has turned into kind of a mini rehearsal room as well, and it's really cool, and I'm having a lot of fun, and I can't wait to go out and gig again. That ought to be great. Although I don't know that I could stay up all night like I used to, right? Go on at 11 or 12 at night and get off at 3 in the morning. That's gonna be a struggle for me at first, but I'll get there. Yeah, Johnny, I'm gonna figure it out and see if I can share the screen. I'm sure you can. I know Johnny Gibe's done it, so I'll talk to him. I'm sure there's an easy way to pull up Studio One and be able to show the DAW and have you guys be able to hear the audio. So I'll get that figured out. We'll get that figured out. Hey, Mike. Hi, Mike. How are you? Yeah, you want to talk about at one point the film and TV scoring process. Yeah, I that's something I don't talk a lot about, only because I don't get a lot of people asking me about it. But there is, you know, at one point I might put together even a video for YouTube, a free video on how I got into, you know, publishing deals and getting music in television and film. Most of my music is in television, not so much in film. The films that my music has been in is really like B films, like you know, local filmmakers. Nothing that you guys would probably know. But however, the TV stuff, over the years, and even still currently on the Discovery Channel, History Channel, Food TV, all the major cable networks, Fox Sports and MSNBC I've had music on. And so, yeah, that's something that I do, and it's taken me probably several years to get to the point where I have music in there regularly, and I have libraries of music that are with certain music libraries and with certain publishers. Yeah, that's one of the ways I make a living. So yeah, at one point I will talk more in detail about it. It is a cool thing, and if you're interested in it, you can hit me up on email through the website, and I could try to help you as well. But I do plan to do that. Let me go back here. Let's see. Let me just go back. Got a lot of okay. I'll get to your questions, guys. Here, let me see. Talk about this. Hi, Boris. Dave, do you think that you can dedicate a video to metal? You mean metal, like heavy metal? There is a quick mix from last year that was a heavy metal track, and I do have 2 of them coming up in 2017. So the answer is yes. I don't know what months. Actually, I got my whole 2017 quick mix agenda right here. All the songs are already mapped out, and there's 2 of them. There's going to be one coming up in July and one coming up in October, where I'll be doing a heavy metal track. But there is one from last year. I don't know the name of the song offhand, but if you go to Home Recording Made Easy, go to the Quick Mix series, you'll see the heavy metal one, and there is one on metal. So, and I'll do more of it because I've been asked to do more of it. So yes, the answer is yes, there'll be more, and there is already one there. David's asking about doing, another interesting topic would be acoustical treatment in the home studio. David, yes, I'm glad you said that. There are right now 2 videos on my YouTube channel that talk about my acoustic treatment in my studio. They were kind of down and dirty, not a lot of detail, but kind of give you an overview. I do plan to do a much more involved video on acoustic treatment in 2017. I'm just not really sure where I'm going to fit it into the schedule. But you are probably the 3rd person that has asked me about acoustic treatment in the last 2 weeks. So I realized that what I've done on YouTube, either people haven't completely seen yet, or it wasn't meeting the needs of what you guys want. So I'm going to rethink that, and I am going to do it because it is the very first thing you need to purchase when you set up your mixing environment in your home or your studio, wherever it is. Before you spend money on anything outside of your computer, you need to do acoustic treatment. And it's probably the least popular thing to talk about. It's the least sexy thing to talk about. It's not a cool plugin, you know, but it is probably the most important thing you need to get a mix to sound good in your room. Because if the room is a problem, and an untreated room is typically a problem, then you're not really hearing accurately what's coming out of your monitors. And therefore, all the decisions you're making with EQ especially and compression are all faulty. And therefore, that's why when you take you get your mix sounding real awesome in your room and you take it out to the car or you put it on in another computer in another room in your house, it doesn't translate right. That's why. It's because of acoustic treatment. Now, one way to combat that is you can use headphones to mix. And that's one way to get around it, but I'm not a real big fan of just solely mixing in headphones, because I've yet to hear a pair of headphones that were accurate enough to where you can really rely on them. However, if you use reference tracks to mix on headphones, or even if you use reference tracks in your room that's not perfectly treated, and you understand what your room sounds like with professional mixes, and then use your mix to kind of gauge the tonal properties of the reference track, you can get by. But yes, I'm going to do videos on acoustic treatment in the future. I will, for sure. Let's see what other questions we got here. Javier's asking about, do I mix lead guitar solo like a lead vocal in terms of panning and volume, etc.? That's what he does. And he finds that it sounds too upfront. Any tip on that? Well, it depends on the track and the guitar solo. When you say, do I mix it in like a vocal in terms of panning and volume? Usually, not always. Usually the guitar solo is usually up the center, not normally panned, typically, but that's not always true. If there's a lead vocal kind of doing some ad-libs or some scats during the guitar solo, I may keep the vocal up front and move the guitar over to one side or the other to give it its own space. As far as volume goes, yeah, I guess you want the guitar solo when the vocal goes away, if it's a vocal song and the guitar solo comes up, you want that to sit on top of the mix like the vocal did. If you find that it's too up front, one thing you can kind of pay attention to is if it's distorted electric guitar especially, a lot of times you get a little bit of too much bite on the top end between that maybe 2 and 5K mark. 2 and 6K mark, and it may cut through the mix a little bit too much and be a little irritating to the ear. You can use a little EQ to shave off some of that top end, or if you want to use if you have a tube style compressor plugin, that will sometimes soften up the top end, and then it'll sit up front, but it won't jump out too much, and it won't irritate the ear as much. So that's a couple of things you can try if you feel like it's getting too in your face, Or you can automate it. You know, if it, depending on how it was played, if there's certain parts of the solo that just kind of pop through too much, you can always automate it. You can always write it, and you can write some automation in to kind of get it where you want it. So there's a few things you can try. Oh, let me see what other questions we got here. A lot of questions, a lot of questions. Hold on, I'll get to them. Let's see. Yes, again, we'll definitely do the acoustic treatment thing. Is there any home studio room perfect? No, no. Even my room's not perfect. But you know, when you get some acoustic treatment in it, and you know the room, and you've been mixing in a room long enough, I know the way the room sounds. I know what the room sounds, what parts of the room sound good, and what parts of the room do not. And so, you got to learn your room. You right? You got to learn your room, and you got to learn your speakers. If you learn the room and learn the speakers, even if the room is not perfectly tuned, if you just get some basic acoustic treatment up, that's going to help a lot. And all you can do is trial and error. You know, do a mix, take it out to another environment, listen to it. How does the low end sound? And that's usually the problem. It's normally the low end. It's the low end that's never no, I shouldn't say never. It's the low end that's not usually accurate. You leave your studio, the low end sounds perfect. You bring it somewhere else, it sounds too boomy, or it sounds too thin. That means the low end in your room isn't accurate. But if you could do that trial and error, and you go back and forth over time, you're going to learn where the imperfections are in your room, and you're going to be able to compensate for that. And again, the best thing you can do is you know, check on multiple sources, check on headphones, check on earbuds, check on an iPhone. If you have a set of cheap computer speakers, you can use that as a secondary set of speakers. Also, you know, I tell students this all the time about, you know, you're really mixing for where is the music going to be listened to. In other words, you have a track, you're sending it out. What are the where do you think that music's going to be listened to the most? In today's day and age, most of the music today is listened to on a computer with cheap computer speakers, or an iPhone, or an iPad, or earbuds. That's normally where people listen to music nowadays. It's rare, or a lot more rare, that people listen to music on like a hi-fi home stereo system, or a really, you know, slamming car stereo system. It's usually a system that's pretty inferior, comparatively speaking. And therefore you got to kind of mix with that kind of in mind. Or people put them online. They put them on the internet. If you're mixing for an artist, they put them on their website. And by the time they're done compressing and smashing into an MP3, everything gets real thin. The audio gets, you know, degraded to some degree, and it's not going to be listened to in the most optimum system. So whenever I'm mixing for clients, one of the questions that come up in the pre-production meeting is, what are you guys planning to do with this music? Is it going on a CD and being sold? That's more and more rare today, but that still does happen. Is it going to be something just used on your website? Is it going to be something that people are going to be listening to on mobile devices? Because knowing that information up front, it kind of cues you into what you have to think about, especially the low end. So a lot of my mixes in my studio today leave it a little more low end than it probably should, but that's by design, because when you put it on a small speaker system or an iPhone or earbuds, you know, the bass guitar and the kick drum, you lose them completely. So I try to beef up the low end a little bit to give it some punch on those, you know, portable devices and the internet and that kind of thing. So that's the best thing to do, is you got to know where the music's going to be listened to, or, you know, try to figure that out as best you can. And you got to learn your room, and you got to learn your speakers. And if you set up your monitors in the right way and you have some basic acoustic treatment, you should be fine. But we will do more videos on that in the future. 26 people now watching. I thought you guys would all run away by now. We've been online, what, 50 minutes? Wow, this is cool, man. This is really cool. I'm glad you guys all came in and hung out with me on no notice whatsoever. All you people are just hanging around the internet like I was, and you saw I was online and you jumped in, man. That's really cool. Again, I really appreciate that a lot, more so than you'll probably ever know. What other questions you guys got? I'm going to stay on about another 10 minutes, and then after about an hour, I'm going to split. I got some things I have to do today, business stuff, but I will definitely be back next Friday. If this is the kind of turnout we're going to get, I'm going to show up and we'll have fun. It'll be cool, man. It'll be cool. How many people here that are watching do mixing and studio work for either part-time for money? Do you have clients, or do you do it full-time, or is it all just a hobby? I'm interested to hear what kind of what are you guys kind of doing out there? Are you guys working for money? Are you just doing it for fun? Are you hoping to do it for money someday? Are you just doing it for your own personal enjoyment? All that stuff is totally cool. There's nothing wrong. There's no wrong answer. I'm just curious to know what do most of my a lot of my students do. David's doing it as a hobby at this point. Really cool. We all started out as just a hobby. Believe me. It was a hobby for a lot of years. Steve, you'll be there next Friday. Excellent. Excellent. I look forward to seeing you back. Malcolm's learning as he's going. Your goal is to make money. That's cool. That's cool. I know Johnny does it for a living. Scotty does bass tracks. Steve is a voiceover artist. Very cool. Very cool. Mike says for a living would be great. Yeah, it's fun. But I tell, I ask that question because I get people that that once they've been doing this a little while and they start getting, their feet underneath them as far as mixing goes or songwriting or whatever they're doing in their studio, mastering work, whatever, and they want to start making money, and they want to, everyone's, and I was like this too. Everyone can't wait to quit their job and do this full time and, do music for a living. It sounds great. But it's a long road. It's not something that happens overnight. And I tell people, especially, people that are, younger, just getting out of school and going into the workforce for the first time, take your time and do it part-time if you can. And whether you make money out of it or whether you don't make money out of it, build up your chops, build up your reputation, try to build a client list or an email list before you jump into this thing full time. Because when you're doing it part-time and you don't really need the money because it's not what you use to support your family, it becomes a lot less stressful. And it's a lot more fun. And, this is a fun industry. It's a fun industry to be in. I'm not going to kid you. But when you do this for a living, as I'm sure Johnny would attest to, it's a business and it's a job. And it comes with all the same stresses that if you went to work for somebody else. The difference is there's no guaranteed paycheck. And so you got to be careful about that. So, but it can be done. A lot of people think, oh, I'll never be able to do this full time. If you really want to do this full time, you can. I did. Johnny did. You can do it. There is a path to getting there, but it does take a lot of work. You're going to work a lot of hours. You're going to work a lot of late nights. And in the beginning, you're going to do a lot of stuff, if not for free, nearly for free, to build up a reputation. But you can do it if you want to. And I have no problem trying to help people and sharing my story at one point, to tell you how I did it, and hopefully it'll help some of you. But it's I have a video. I think there is a video on the YouTube channel. There's a playlist called The Studio Biz, I think it's called, and I have a few videos in there. And one of the videos is why we love our day jobs. And I talk about what I just mentioned, how staying with your day job as long as you possibly can while you're trying to build up this thing on the side before you make the plunge is about the best decision you're ever going to make. And I see a lot of people, they think they can just jump in with 2 feet and work really hard, and all of a sudden the money's going to come pouring in. It does not work that way. I don't care how good of an engineer you think you are or how good of an engineer you actually are. Once you're good, it's not about that anymore. It's about networking. It's about meeting people and hard work and getting your name out there. And today with the internet, you got the whole world that you can work with, which is fantastic. But the problem is anybody that has a $500 laptop and a microphone and some plugins can call themselves an engineer. And therefore, there's a lot more competition out there. And even if you're better than 90% of the competition out there, it doesn't matter if people don't know about you. So you have somewhat of I feel like a saturated market. And it's hard to break in, but you can if you're willing to stick with it. And so you just have to be patient. So that's why I tell people, keep your day job until you can prove maybe a couple of years in a row that your business is growing. You can actually see it, in a spreadsheet, and you think that you're getting to the point where you're growing and you can actually see the fruits of that hard labor, then maybe you move away. And, and when you get to the point where you can't take it any further because you don't have the time, then you can consider making that jump. But until that point, stay in your day job as long as you can. It takes a lot of pressure off. Trust me. Let's see what else we got. A few more minutes. I'll stand about another 5 minutes. And then I'm going to have to take off. Yeah, seeing a lot of the stupid texts from musicians. I don't know if I want to deal with the headache. It's like look, owning a studio is like any other business. You got to deal with clients, you got to deal with customers. You're going to deal with headaches. You're going to deal with them. Believe you me, they're out there. And you know what I found, and Johnny might be able to comment on this as well over the years. What I found is, the people that spend the least amount of money are usually the people that create the most headaches for me, which is the weirdest thing. When I have, clients that spend a lot of money for me to mix a record, an entire record, or master, or sometimes people pay me and actually will, pay for my travel to go to their studio and help them out and all this stuff. And they spend a lot of money. But those are the people that are the easiest ones to work with. You would think that the more they spend, the more demanding they would be. It's the other way around. I find the least amount of money that a client spends usually translates into could be headaches. Not always, certainly. But that's what I found as a pattern. People that want to, which is one of the reasons why, when I changed my pricing structure for my mixing work about a year or two ago, where there's a certain amount of money I have to make to mix a project. I'm not willing to do anything for $50-$100 anymore, because usually those small amounts of money usually are the projects that are the biggest headaches, and I don't know why that is, but it just is. And Johnny says that's his experience too. It's remarkable to me. It really is. But you know what? That's like that with any business. I love those customers as much as I like the people that don't give me a headache. Anyone that wants to spend their money with me, I appreciate. But you also got to, as a business owner, you have to, you got to be able to decipher what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and what's good business and what's bad business. It's not all about the money transaction. It's about the relationship. It's about the quality of the work. And if you're not the person actually recording the artist, say you're just the mixing engineer, and you have no control over the quality of the project until it gets, till after it's already been recorded, you got to be careful. You got to make sure that when you're dealing with clients and you're dealing with projects, that you try to keep in mind of, you want to do quality over quantity. And sometimes that throws people because, especially when you first start off, right? Everybody wants to do as much work as possible, right? Because you need the money, right? So you're doing it for the money. I mean, let's face it. If you're in business, you're not there as a nonprofit organization, right? You're trying to make a living, right? So, but you got to be careful that you don't fall into the trap that you just take any old thing that anybody's going to throw your way, because that could be a disaster. And I've had that happen early in my career. So what I learned very quickly early on was, And this is why I say keep your day job, is because when I first started taking money for work, I didn't need the money because I was already working full time and I was doing my studio on nights and weekends. And that's why I say you're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of hours working, if you have a day job already. But because I didn't need the money, there was a lot of times where even early on, I turned away a lot of work. If I didn't feel the project was good for me, if I didn't feel like the artist was good for me, if I didn't feel like the deal was good for me, regardless of money, just the overall experience, a lot of times I would turn it away because I always was thinking about what did I want my business to be like 5 years down the road? What did I want the reputation of myself to have? I wanted to have a reputation that when someone went to my website and listened to my portfolio, it was only with really great artists, because a really great artist with a really great song mixes itself in a lot of ways. And so I was really careful about those kinds of things. And that's why I tell people just be, when you first start off, do a lot of work for free. If you're going to do work for free to help people out, do anything you can to get your mixing chops down, especially if you're talking about mixing and mastering. But in today's day and age, if you need tracks to practice on, there are so many websites where you can get multi-tracks. There are so many people that create things like the Quick Mix series that I do that to help you get better at your mixing, so you don't have to go out and work with an artist that's not going to help you get better, if that makes sense, right? So, one day I think I'm going to create an entire course on this whole thing, because I get a lot of questions around the studio business and getting started. And so I have a lot of those little nuggets of advice to give. That's just one of them. And so one day I think I'll put it all in one easy thing for everyone to kind of look at and, tell you how I did it. And then you take that information and do what you want with it. Johnny, how do you handle those who have little talent but throw money at you? Well, you know what, Johnny? I'll tell you, I had this happen. Oh, hey, Chris, before I get to you, said you have all the Made Easy courses except for mastering. Do I plan to update that one? Yeah, Chris, I'm going to update that one in the new version of Studio One soon. Okay. Sorry, just my wife texting me. Yeah, the mastering course I have is actually, I think, really good. Anyone else that has it can maybe comment on it, but I am going to do an update to that one. I am going to do another update to compression and EQ Made Easy at one point to get a little bit more detailed. But yeah, it'll come out. I don't know when the mastering will come out. It may come out later in 2017. But the first one's not that bad either. And, right now you can pick it up on sale, which I haven't mentioned to anybody yet, but I will shortly. Johnny, how do you want to, let's see, how do I handle people that don't have a lot of talent, but have a lot of money? Well, I'll tell you, believe me, I know it's difficult to turn away money. I mean, right. Let's be honest with each other here. I'll tell you what, though. I had an artist in my studio about a year and a half ago, female artist. She was young, probably 20 years old, first time really getting into recording. And she had written a bunch of songs that she wanted me to track her vocals to. She brought in the music and she was going to track the vocals. And it's the one time that I broke my rule that I didn't listen to her. I never heard her sing before she came to my studio, which I had never done before, and I have never done after. But the situation was such, I kind of just went with it. I was trying to help somebody out, and they wanted to pay me a considerable amount of money to track vocals for an entire record, which was like 8 or 10 songs. And so I said, okay. I heard the music. It was kind of what kind? It was kind of like trippy kind of rock music, if you will. It's hard to kind of describe. It wasn't something I was too familiar with, but I had never heard her sing. And we came in and we tracked the vocal. And after about the first 20 seconds of the first song, this artist was so. It was so not good, and it was so wrong that I just remember thinking to myself, what did I get myself into? There was no making this person sound good. There was no producing. There was none of that. It was going downhill very, very quickly. And now I'm in this situation where I've committed to tracking and mixing a record. And we got a pricing and we had all that all that stuff was worked out in advance. And so yeah, Melodyne wasn't going to help. This was something it was not good. So we did the session for the day. We didn't even get through an entire song because she just wasn't prepared. It was just a bad scene. And so honestly, I had to kind of let her down and kind of talk to her about. Although I felt obviously I would never say anything about her talent. I'm not there to degrade, to be mean to anybody. I wasn't trying to be that way, but to tell her I felt like she wasn't ready, that she needed to do more rehearsing and she needed to do more recording. And that, I felt she needed to kind of go away and practice and work on her stuff and finalize her songs before she was ready. And really all I kept doing, as bad as this sounds, but I didn't want to be cruel, because I wasn't, I'm not about that, but I also didn't want to take this person's money knowing I couldn't deliver her anything near what she thought the expectation was going to be. I knew I couldn't do the job. So I didn't want to take the money because I just didn't feel right about that. So, I just kept pushing her off. Call me in 2 months when you got a couple of songs worked out. She called me, send me something. I don't think you're ready. Work on this. And I would just keep honestly delaying it until she eventually just, said she needed to get something recorded right away. My schedule at the time was booked and she finally just went somewhere else. I don't know where she went. And it was kind of, I felt really bad about it, but at the same time, I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But it taught me a valuable lesson. And I knew about this lesson where I don't record or track anyone, band, single artist, or otherwise, until I've heard that person either perform live or perform in a rehearsal space. I want to know what I'm getting into before somebody walks through the door. And I made that one exception that one time, and it was not good. And it was, somebody, a young girl, probably 18, 20 years old, she was starry-eyed and wanted, had big dreams of being a singer, and she's just not a singer. And there was no way she was going to be a singer. And I think along the way, people, tried to tell her things she wanted to hear to take money from her, which is really unfortunate. And I don't know where that person is today, but I could guarantee you that person's not in the music industry. So that happens. And that's how I handled that one situation. But, and to this day, I feel a little bad about it. And because she did pay me for that one day. It wasn't a lot of money, but I felt really bad because I wanted to do everything I could to not hurt this poor girl's feelings. And I don't think I did. I don't think she cued in. She just felt like I didn't want to record her, or I was too busy and she went on to somewhere else. And, unfortunately there's probably some, dirtbag studio that took her in and took all her money and tried to make her think she was going to be a star when she was never going to be that. And that's unfortunate. I can't control that, but that's how I handled that one situation, Johnny. Hopefully you don't have anything like that happen to you. Oh man. I'm a nice guy, Steve. Well, hey, look, art is and you know how it is, man. If you're a musician, or if you know musicians and work with musicians, art is very personal. And even if the talent isn't there, but it's something that they created, it means a lot to them. It's a personal and emotional thing. And I don't ever want to rain on anybody's parade. I just don't want to. But again, kind of spinning back to, I also don't want to just take people's money. And that's when I talked about quality of work, I wanted to make sure I worked with people that I really felt like I can add value to. That's probably a better way to say it. It really doesn't matter. The talent level isn't really as important as is, can I take what you have and can I make it better for you? Can I meet your expectations, or can I exceed your expectations? If I don't feel I can do that, for whatever reason, whether it's you as an artist or whether it's me as an engineer, I don't want your money. It's not a good fit because, people, how it is. We all have a budget. We all have, all our money is, none of us, I'm sure, are rich. And when people spend their money, they want to feel like they get good value. And if I can't deliver that good value for whatever the reason is, I don't want your money. And so I always wanted to make sure that I always dealt with as good quality talent as I could, and got involved in projects where I really felt I can make a difference. And if I can make a difference and I can exceed your expectations, then I feel like I do deserve the money, and I don't feel bad about charging what I feel is appropriate, you know? And that's just the way that's just my guideline. You know, everyone's got different guidelines. That's just how I do it, you know? So yeah, no, I don't feel bad. She got good advice. I tried to help her, and, you know, I just feel bad. The only thing I felt bad about, not really, I just felt bad because I knew, you know, again, she was naive and she was young, and she really did think she was, you know, that she really had what it took. She really did believe that. And you hate to rain on anybody's parade. You know, you hate to do that, you know? But, you know, I think I handled it the best way I could. Oh, well. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't, I didn't take her money. And, yeah, you know, again, I appreciate all the nice comments, guys. Yeah, it's just the way I would handle that. You know, I handled the situation. And again, you know, reputation is everything. And it means a lot to me that people look at me and think of me, you know, of having a good reputation. And again, if you're, even if you're watching one of my free YouTube videos, I want you to feel like you get value, and that I've given value to something that you need, you know, something for your project. If I'm not providing value to you, then you have no reason to watch my videos, whether they're free or whether you bought one of my products. And I take that extremely seriously. I want to make sure that that I can provide value to whatever you're doing. And if I can't, then I don't want you to, you know, spend money with me. And so I think if you're new, and if you're a new business person, regardless of what business you go into, if you think of your clients and your customers in that way, you'll do fine. Because people will, most people do appreciate that, and most people will give you business based on your reputation. And so that's my advice to all you new business owners out there, or ones thinking about being in business. Treat people right, be fair, and realize that if you have a bad experience, that can do a lot of damage to your business. And if things go wrong, do whatever you have to do to make it right. You know, step up and make it right, whatever that means, you know. And I've, you know, things have gone wrong in my business, and people weren't always happy from time to time. And I did whatever I had to do to make it right. I mean, that's just the way you do things. You know, we're all people, and we all want to be treated with respect, and we all want to be treated fairly. And as long as you do that, you'll be cool. You'll be fine. So now I'm on here, an hour and 12 minutes. We got 27 people here, which is crazy to me because I didn't even tell anybody I was coming on here. But anyway, I'm glad this is actually working. All I got to do is get the video squared away, right, guys? Is the sound, the audio okay? Does it sound, my voice sound okay to you guys? And I know the video's a little bright, meaning that you're getting the reflection of my monitor, and I'm going to try to lower the brightness of my screen for Friday so you're not looking at this big, bright white light of my face. Audio is perfect. Okay, cool. Audio is good. Thanks, Johnny. That's cool. Audio is fine. Excellent, excellent. So it's just my video. Cool. And how bad is the video really? Because I can't see myself. I could see a little bit of a little tiny picture in the corner, and it looks a little bright on one side of my face, but the rest of it looks okay. So, and the video is at 720p, which I think is what I want to be, right, Johnny? If I can go to 1080, but then I think you need to really make sure the internet connection is there. But I'll get the video squared away. No problem. No problem. We'll get that done. Any other questions before I kind of head out of here? I think I got another few minutes. It's, oh yeah, the video's a little overexposed, but it's far from blown out. Okay, well again, I think that's just the YouTube screen. The YouTube background is all white and it's just reflecting back. And I'm just gonna have to figure out how to lower the brightness on my monitor here, and that should be fine. Okay, 1080 if I'm going to share the screen. Yeah, I'm going to figure out how to share the screen. If I don't figure it out for this Friday, if we do future live streams, if you guys really want me to do those, I will figure it out. I did, Johnny, as the encoder, I'm using this thing called, what's it called? OBS is the software that someone recommended, where you can actually, what's it called? It's called, oh yeah, it's OBS. I know that stands for something, where that is my kind of my encoder thing that I'm using with YouTube. And it's a free thing because I've never done this before. And when I look at the OBS screen, the video looks fine. It's on YouTube is where it looks a little washed out. But I'll get all that figured out. I mean, it's the content that really matters, right? Not so much my face, but I want it to look right. Yeah, I'm going to check out YouTube. I'm going to figure out how to do the screen sharing thing. I'm going to get all that squared away. I know there's a way to do it. I'll figure it out. Yeah, Johnny, I'll send you the link to OBS. It's a free encoder thing. I know there's some ones that you can pay for. I think it's there's a few of them that you can pay for. Yeah, it's obs.org. That's right. But I didn't buy anything because I didn't want to buy something if I didn't know what I was doing. I figured I would test it out with this free stuff. But ultimately, if I end up doing more live streaming and if there's a paid software that's going to work better and be better quality, and I can do things with the DAW and audio and share screen and all that, if that means I have to pay for something, I'll do that. If this experience helps you guys, I have no problem, making a little bit of an investment to help out. That's okay. Oh, the video is frozen now? Yeah, it shouldn't be. I mean, that could be an internet thing. Maybe on your end or my end, I'm not sure. I mean, I know I have a really super fast internet speed here through a cable modem, so I know. Yeah, Wirecast. That's right. That's the thing the Wirecast. Yeah, Wirecast is supposed to be a software that it's expensive though, man. I think it's like $500 US. But I guess you could do everything with multiple cameras. It's stuff for more professional broadcasting. And I don't know that I'm a professional broadcaster. We're just checking this thing out. But anyway, we'll figure that out. Not frozen here? Cool. Yeah, it's the Russian hackers. Wow. Something else, right? Wirecast is a ripoff? Yeah, I don't know anything about it. Like I said, I'm ignorant to this stuff, Johnny. Maybe if someone wants to hit me up offline, if any of you guys are more into live streaming and you know more about this stuff and you know how this whole thing works, and you wouldn't mind giving me some help, I would appreciate that. But if not, I'll figure it out. I mean, at least this is working. I mean, we're able to communicate, so that's cool. So worst case scenarios, we're going to have this on Friday. But like I said, if I do more of these, I will definitely, I'll get it all worked out. So it's cool, because I think it would be really cool to be able to pull up Studio One or whatever DAW and actually show some examples of some things I might be working on and some tips and some hacks I can show you, where you guys can actually not only see the screen, but hear the audio in decent quality. That would really be cool. And so, I'd like to be able to do that, because I think that would make these live streams a lot more effective to me just sitting here rambling, right? You want to see stuff, especially plugins. I know if I can do that, I'm going to get a bunch of questions on demonstrating plugins and stuff, which I'll do. If it helps you guys, I'll do anything. I'll do anything to help you. Oh, okay. Yeah. The multiple scenes in OBS is like having different cameras, right? Yeah. So again, I'll have to figure out, I guess one scene I could actually set up as the screenshot, the share screen. I know I'll get it all figured out. We'll get it all rolling. No problem. But it's been about an hour and 20 minutes, guys. I got to roll. I got things I got to take care of today before the end of the day. And I just was going to jump on here really for only 5 or 10 minutes just to see if I can get this thing up and running. And, we had almost 30 people in here. And that's great, man. Again, I thank you so much for stopping by and for checking it out. I'm glad that you guys got the notification that I was live. That's awesome, because I didn't know how that was going to happen. I am going to send out an email to my VIP email members probably on Monday or Tuesday, letting them know about the live stream. So if you guys are already on that, most of you probably are, you'll see an email from me just letting you know I'm going to be on YouTube, so I can try to get this out in as front of as many people as possible. I've already posted something on my Facebook page. If you're not part of my email list, head over to Home Recording Made Easy and sign up for the email list, and I'll get you that notification. You don't have to worry. I'm not going to spam you. Your email's safe with me. It doesn't go to anybody. I promise you that. I only email you guys when I'm releasing a new product, or if a product is going on sale to only my VIP members, which right now, if you're a VIP member, all the Made Easy stuff is on sale. So if you're a VIP email list subscriber, you've already gotten that email. And then for things like the live stream, other than that, you're not going to get a bunch of emails from me every single week trying to sell you stuff. I don't do that. I hate doing that. As a matter of fact, I even feel weird about sending out the email to my email list when I have a brand new product or I put something on sale, because I always feel like I don't want to come across like a used car salesman, because that's not what I'm doing. Again, if you want the stuff, it's there. If you don't want it, no harm, no foul. There's a ton of stuff on YouTube that's free. I always feel weird about that. So you're not going to get a bunch of unsolicited emails from me. You'll get them occasionally, but it's usually never more than once a month. And that's only to tell you about the new Quick Mix. Sometimes twice a month if there's something special going on. Other than that, I leave you alone. I promise. So if you want that stuff, go out to Home Recording Made Easy, sign up, and you'll get an email about the live stream coming up. But don't forget, this Friday, December 23rd, 8 p.m. Eastern, head on out to come back here to YouTube, and you'll see me live, and have your questions ready, and we'll see if we can get this thing rolling, and we'll do a bunch of these in the future. So until next time, thank you guys. I so much appreciate you, and thanks so much for everything. And if I don't see you between now and Christmas, which is only a week away, you and your family have a happy and safe holiday. Whether you celebrate Christmas or whatever you celebrate, just have a safe new year coming up, and 2017 is going to be bigger than 2016. I promise you for that. So until next time, see you guys later.